Donald Trump. The state of Arkansas, the polls just closed there 5 or 6 minutes ago. Our partners here in the US, CBS News, projecting that as a win for Donald Trump, and the 6 electoral votes that come with Arkansas. Arkansas projected as a win for Donald Trump. A reliably red state, hasn't voted for a Democrat for president since Bill Clinton, who was, of course, the governor of Arkansas. So he had some bit of a home court advantage there. So there you can see Arkansas now projected as a win for Donald Trump and the 6 electoral votes. What does that mean for the path to the presidency? Well, there we have it, the race to 270. Donald Trump now on 105 electoral votes and Harris on 27. But as we've been saying, don't read anything into that at the moment because we're very, very early in the night and there's a path in terms of how different states close and which direction they lean at this point in time. But let's go down the road from where we are in Washington, D.C. now to Howard University, to the Kamala Harris watch party there at her old alma mater. And we can speak to our correspondent, Samira Hussein. Samira, what's the mood like there at the moment?
Well, right now, the president of the university is speaking. He's addressing the crowds. And, I actually had a moment to be able to sort of walk through, and there are different areas for the crowds to assemble. And it's a real party-like atmosphere. When there's not someone speaking at the stage, there's a DJ that's spinning music, and people are dancing. At one point, there was this enormous line dance that was happening, people just dancing in union, and it was really just sort of emblematic of the kind of jovial atmosphere that exists here right now. But as you pointed out many times, that this is a long night, and so we'll see if the DJ is going to be able to keep up that momentum and keep people dancing and cheering. I think what was really, that really stood out for me in looking at the crowds was seeing just how young everyone was and just how many little girls have also come here. I actually crossed paths with 3 girls who must have been about 10 years old, and they were wearing matching sequenced outfits. I have seen people wearing crowns and people really dressed up for the event. And I think that really just shows how important a moment this is. This is a historic campaign, the first woman of color to be the head of a national ticket for president. I mean, already that is a momentous thing. And I think there's so many people here, they just want to be here for what happens next. Now, look, the polls have been razor close for months now, and now we've come to the end, and it's still that close. But no matter what, for the people here, it was just so important to be on this campus for whatever the outcome.
And Samira, is the Vice President there at the moment, or is she at her home, the Vice President's home and observatory circle here in Washington? Naval Observatory, pardon me.
Well, so earlier today, she actually said that she was going to be having a family dinner at home. Apparently,
a bunch of presidential
a tradition
crap.
of her and her family.
We'll see who
and
wins
that dinner's
this
not going
thing.
to happen until about 9:45 this evening.
Sorry, I had my mic
and then
off.
eventually she should be making her way to Howard University. But of course, it will really be dependent on how quickly or what sort of direction the polls are going to be going in.
Thank you for that. Now, let's go and have a look at some more exit poll information that we have, as the day has that for us now.
So we've been talking so far about a national picture, but let's look at a battleground state because voting has closed.
Yeah, Kamala Harris,
Georgia,
the first
so we can look at a detailed breakdown
presidential
of how
candidate to not be voted
and what
for.
we're seeing is a stark difference, a division
First
amongst racial
presidential candidate
lines.
to be
now you'll see that about
anointed
7 in 10
by a
white
party
voters
to run for
voted
president.
for Donald Trump. Whereas when you look at who voted for
Democracy at
Kamala
work.
Harris, it's very different. About 8
Something like
out
that.
of 10 black voters have voted for Kamala Harris. Now, both those figures are...
You know, the politics of the whole,
Atlanta.
oh,
Let's
if you're
find
black,
out
you got to
where
vote for a
the
black person.
outstanding vote
Such
for
crap.
Georgia is at the moment. So what we want to do here, the deeper the purple, the more outstanding votes. So you can go to the more populated counties, perhaps like DeKalb County. You can look at DeKalb on the map, 0% in the upper right-hand corner. Can't know anything from DeKalb.
Haven't put anything in yet?
What about Fulton?
Fulton. Wasn't that a big issue last time?
You see, Fulton, 70% of that vote is now in.
Oh, wow.
But that's certainly one to watch. What about Gwinnett? All right, still at 16%. Kevin, go ahead and arm up and look at Cobb County, just to the northwest of Atlanta there. This is Newt Gingrich's old district, heavily Republican for decades. Around 2016, it flipped toward the Democrats, and right now, a little more than 50% of the vote in. So, Kevin, come on back down here a moment. One county I haven't checked in on.
Google's already
look at the
declared
African-American
Rhode
turnout.
Island for
Look
Harris.
at Chatham. Chatham is where Savannah is, down there along the coast. You only have 5% of the vote reporting. Chatham was one of these counties in 2020 that took forever to get the vote in. I don't know if that's going to be the same way again this year, but we're waiting to see about African-American turnout, as we suggested a moment ago, about African-American men supporting Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and look at the vote margin, rather, for Georgia. The vote margin for Georgia right now, let's go statewide. So we move away from Chatham. We go statewide in Georgia. So Chatham's still at 5%, and for statewide, you're at 44%. So a lot of vote out there. Pete Stay, go ahead and clear this, and we'll get back to this in a moment in Georgia and elsewhere. So Brett, Martha,
I think that's really interesting about what's coming in. I think that these states, as these numbers come in, Democrats have high hopes about someplace like Texas, about something like Ohio, where they look at the Ann Seltzer poll from Des Moines and say, is this indicative of the Midwest? But we're not seeing that in our Fox News voter analysis match. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of hate that too. They're like, oh, if this happens in this state, it's going to happen in this state.
It's a good state here to examine because Trump won it twice by 8 points. Let's measure his strength right now in 2020, or about halfway in, okay? Kamala Harris doing better on the margins here, okay? 3.5 points statewide, so some vote out there. But Trump has proven to be pretty strong here in Ohio the last 2 times around. We'll see whether or not he can hold. Big Senate race in Ohio as well. Bernie Moreno against Sherrod Brown. We'll track that throughout the night as well. Basically in Ohio, you've got Cincinnati and Hamilton County. You got Columbus and Franklin County. You got Cleveland and Cuyahoga. Those are your 3 main population centers. They have been blue for some time. I would not expect them to be even a shade of rosé, okay? But let's go into my hometown. That's Hamilton County. Strong performance here. About 2/3 of the vote going to Kamala Harris. This is one of these places, that's the cities where the progressives and the Democratic movement has gotten me pretty strong, especially in local government as well in that city. This is Franklin County. You got Ohio State University there, so you got a strong student vote as well. Greater than 2/3 going to Kamala Harris right now. In 2020, the final vote in Franklin County, which is Columbus, you had 65% of the vote for Joe Biden there. So a little bit of the vote still out there, but she is overperforming Biden's number from 4 years ago. And this, I'll just finish up here, guys. Cuyahoga, to check this. Heavily Democratic, 3-1 Democratic votes in Cleveland, Ohio. Cuyahoga, just about 1/3 of the vote right now is in. And Kamala Harris, 71%. And Biden was at 66. So that'd be a good number for Kamala Harris if indeed that holds up. And I think that kind of tells us a little bit about why this number is closer than it's been the last 2 times around.
You want to talk to your co-anchor, Dana?
Well, one of the things I think is pretty interesting is, especially when you're looking at or considering the political realignment that we're living in, and also the population changes, right? So post-COVID, people leaving the North and the Midwest and going South. That's one of the things that, as somebody from Colorado will say, all these people moved in from California, and Colorado was reliably red when I was a kid. It is now reliably blue. And so you get South Park making fun of California all the time and being very frustrated that they moved there. That's
California
not
should be
happening
made
in
fun
the
of.
South.
Because this is a joke.
If people are leaving the Northeast and moving to Florida, they're not all of a sudden bringing a bunch of Democratic politics with them. So there might be a little bit of a change here to watch in the numbers there. The other thing I wanted to say is that one of the things I think we're seeing, especially with some of these lower propensity voters, or whatever we're calling them, unlikely voters, is that the policy of the Biden-Harris administration pushed them into politics and into voting because their situation is dire, and they want a better life. So they went to the rallies and they went to the podcasts and they had fun and they got involved. What will be interesting to see is, Kellyanne might be able to correct me, but as I understand it, if you don't vote often, or if you're a first-time voter, whichever party you vote for the first time, you're likely to vote for that party the second time, and then you might have that voter for life. So the political realignment that is happening and the coalitions that Harris and Trump are putting together could have longer legs.
Well, it goes to what Kellyanne was saying earlier about the working element of the Republican Party shifting. And I think that when you look at Ohio, you are seeing a concentration likely coming from the suburbs, which is leaning more to Harris.
There's something else I see very quickly, and I see it in Virginia. Remember, this is the first presidential election since Glenn Youngkin was elected over Terry McAuliffe on the issues of wokeness and education and just really post-COVID policies. These school board
I'm over
elections.
wokeness.
I think we're having a parents' rights renaissance in this country
Virginia,
that continues.
Trump's leading Virginia,
and I
and
think
geez, not
two
by much.
pillars that we don't cover enough in all the issues, the themes here, are wokeness
Possibly
and
enough to
weakness.
get it, though.
In our Fox News voter
Illinois,
analysis, Trump is
I
seen
missed
as
that
the
one.
strong leader
Indiana
by more than 10
goes to
points over
Trump.
Kamala Harris, strength over
By quite a
weakness.
bit, actually.
But it's also fairness over wokeness.
I wonder what
People
the
feel
current-
like
what's the
life is
current
increasingly
popular
unfair.
vote?
They don't want men and women's sports. They don't want to think their kids are stuck in
16,
schools
well,
based on
pretty
their
much
zip
17
code.
million
They
for
don't want the
Kamala,
pipe fitters and plumbers to
20
pay for
million
student
for
loans of
Trump.
doctors and lawyers. And they don't want 10 million people to come here, including in all these states we're seeing, and get cash and cell phones and clothing and hotel rooms. They just say it's unfair. But wokeness is on the ballot, whether we feel it or not. I'll never understand how Kamala Harris chose someone in Tim Walz who was to the left of her on the woke agenda.
Harold, quickly.
So you look at, we talk about early surprises. Jesse and I love sports, so do you, Brett. When you can get a quick touchdown in a game against somebody you're not supposed to beat. If he wins Virginia, this is a big thing. This is one of those early things that could go your way. Similarly, her numbers in Ohio are interesting to me. I did not think, you talked about the Seltzer poll, and Jessica and I talked about this before we got on. That number suggests, that's what she was suggesting, it could close there. We'll see as the night goes on. But Georgia, North Carolina still, the states that she's got to perform well in, maybe win one. And if he can win Virginia, we thought we were going to have a long night. We might have a longer night. As we think about these numbers here over the next few hours.
It might be a shorter night.
Or shorter if
If
these
it's
surprises
Virginia.
happen.
So we really have to look at the gender breakdown in these states and where we are at half the vote in someplace like Ohio and Texas, where that vote's coming from. We're going to get that.
Yeah.
Coming up.
In minutes away, Brett. That is what we're dealing with. We're going to get some major poll closings that are coming up. Arizona, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
I think
all
Arizona's
about to close,
gonna
and
go
Sean
for Trump.
Hannity will enter our chat as our special coverage continues.
New Mexico, I don't know. 'Cause they're pretty liberal down in New Mexico, but I would imagine that people are really sick of the illegal immigrant kind of situation
Hey America,
that we got
are
going
you ready?
on.
The 2024 Fox Nation Patriot
But,
Awards.
I mean,
Be part of this year's celebration.
knows?
Live and
Let's see what the Blaze is
It's
saying.
must be where all of those
No.
right-wing white supremacists that
Yeah,
they
that's
keep
where they
telling
all
us
are.
story about. I think they're in Portland and
So what do
Seattle.
you guys expect? I mean, if Donald Trump wins decisively tonight, I
Yes,
think
yes,
they
they
are.
will.
They're the kind of people, if I can't have you, no one will.
I don't like.
If I can't have
making
you,
this
no one
prediction
will.
Because I don't want violence. I don't want people to do that. I don't think
Yeah.
that that's healthy for our country. It's obviously dangerous for individuals and businesses. But do I think that the same people that that engaged in the Black Lives Matter riots, that were burning down buildings, that were assaulting cops, that were ruining the businesses of the people, black business owners who they claim to stand for, do I think that they will engage in violence? Yes, I do. I do, because they've said, there was a group, it was a socialist group, there was an undercover video recorded of them about a year ago. They were talking about what they were going to do after this election, and they said it's going to be worse than the summer of rage in 2020. What we're going to do is going to be worse. And
See,
I think
people
the
need to
closer the election
chill the
results
hell
are,
out,
the
'cause
more violent it's going to be.
America's still here, no matter who gets elected. I mean, the prices of things
I hope
will
I'm wrong too.
obviously change, like they
don't
did under
necessarily
Biden. They got
think you are.
way more expensive.
They are going
Gas
to
is
engage
more
in
expensive.
every
Pretty much
bit
everything
of
is more expensive.
lawfare that they can.
And
I worry we're 72 days away from the
I don't know, it is what it is.
Donald Trump or
We're still here,
Kamala
we're still
putting their
alive,
hand
we're
on
still
the Bible
plugging
and being
along.
sworn in. 72 days. That's a lot of days that you can burn a lot of cities. I will tell you that I don't think you're going to be burning a lot of small cities. I think it'll be all the progressive cities that will
It'll
burn
be the big,
themselves down.
the big cities,
But you
the
come to some of our small communities.
larger
We're not gonna
areas.
do that.
Yeah.
People will stop it. I'm not sure the government will.
Yeah,
what
small
does
town.
Biden, Harris,
Try that
or
in a small
whoever
town.
is the president, what do they do in the next?
Yeah, it won't happen.
Well, what incentive do they have to stop something like that?
If you have the kind of acting out you guys are describing in the midst of a decisive election, I mean that's a mortal wound to the Democratic Party. Okay, I mean that because there's no way to camouflage that. There's no way to spin that. There's no way these are aggrieved people. This is not a George Floyd funeral. I mean, this is not Donald Trump. Only got 46% of the popular vote in a head-to-head matchup and won the 5 decisive states by a combined 75,000 votes. And Vladimir Putin had a P-tape that he used as a means of getting Trump to as his leverage point to infiltrate America. I mean, this is
P-tape.
Yeah,
the golden shower or something. That ended up being a total joke.
I would say Trump winning the popular vote. I think that is on the table.
If that happens, that takes away their electoral college argument that they always use.
Yeah,
they always say, we won the popular vote. Well, we don't elect presidents by popular vote.
I think that you run out of talking points.
Yes.
And here's the other thing to think about. There are other people right now that want her to lose in their party because they want to run.
I know.
Like the governor of Pennsylvania, for example.
Yeah.
And the senator in Pennsylvania has already shown he's an independent thinker and will say whatever he truly thinks too. I mean, I could see John Fetterman and Josh Shapiro as guys who just won the last midterm. I mean, you're Josh Shapiro. You just won your state by 15 points. And then you turn around and see Trump win your state in the presidential election and you want to run. And you've got John Fetterman there who's already telling you what he really thinks. He breaks with his party all the time. I could see them right away sister soldier this thing if you get the reference that I'm making. I could see them come right out and say, I'm going to call BS on that, basically. That's not who we are. All right, I don't like the results of the election, but it's time to move on, because you're talking about the kind of thing where you are giving Trump now not just a win in a redemption story, you're giving him win at the back. Instead of 100 days, he's got to get something done. Maybe he's got 6 months. Yeah. Maybe he's got an entire year. He's got more of a mandate. I don't think it's as cut and dried. I mean, that they can unleash the stormtroopers. Given
but
not
the
just
question
if he wins,
is,
but how.
But the question is, can they
contain them?
Contain the stormtroopers. You know, that's the problem with Marxism. You're always playing with gasoline and matches, and you think, well, we'll be able to control it. Can you?
That's a very good point.
We'll find out. Where are we going here? We have a new exit poll. This is a nationwide exit poll. Who do you trust more to handle the economy? Trump, 51%. Harris, 47. I can't believe it's that close.
I don't know
who
why
do you trust to
anybody
handle immigration?
trust
Trump,
Harris all that
53,
much with the
Harris,
economy. She
45.
hasn't-
Now remember, those are the two.
She hasn't said any
the
kind of
two
a
top issues
plan or
from
anything
people
yet.
exiting the voting booth. Who do you trust to handle crime and safety? Trump, 51. Harris, 47. Who do you trust to handle a crisis? Trump, 51.
Trump.
Harris, 47. What's your opinion of Harris? Unfavorable, 54%. Opinion of Trump, unfavorable, 54%. Favorable, however, on Trump is 45. Favorable on Harris is 47. But I have to tell you, being 3 points behind somebody that the media has made into the Virgin Mary, as they have also spent the last 10 years calling you Trump, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Well, they do
this
is
is
call
the
Trump
narrative
Hitler,
tonight. I
and
mean, if
we're all
if
Nazis
Donald Trump
apparently for.
wins tonight decisively, there's no hiding it. You know, I mean, the repercussions are very
Supporting
different
him.
than any
Well,
other
wasn't
elections
that
we've seen
showing
with
up?
Trump. Something is over. There's a definitive winner.
Yes.
And that's going to have a ripple effect
reload
throughout
that.
the
Maybe
entirety
it'll
of
work.
our society and culture. You cannot
There we
hide
go.
this.
And I don't think if we would have elected Donald Trump in 2020, we would be able to make the case, and we would not have been able to make the moves
Well, that
that I
just
think
doesn't
Donald Trump is
broadcast,
going to be
does
able
it?
to make
MSNBC.
if he wins tonight. If he wins
Yeah,
tonight,
see if
we are
ABC
at
does.
the end. You know, I said this 15 years ago. 2025 is the maximum swing of the
commercials, but
pendulum.
whatever.
By 2024, 25, it's going to start swinging back. Well, here we are. And
Yeah, that's funny.
I
They
think we
block
saw it start swinging
that's fine,
back
whatever.
at an accelerated pace because of COVID.
MSNBC, we don't need them anyway.
I actually think the BLM riots red-pilled more people than COVID did.
Yeah.
100%. Whenever I'm talking to people in the wild, the vast majority of them say, I started listening to you in 2020.
Yep.
And the evangelical world, this was huge. You had a lot of conservative identifying evangelicals talking about white privilege and systemic racism. Donald Trump actually lost about 1 million evangelical votes versus what he had in 2016. and
ABC only
2020.
has 27
My
and 105.
estimation is that all of those votes come back. Because even just among the private conversations I've been having with pastors,
So this
they're
is
like,
what
you know
was
what?
projected.
You were kind of right about that BLM stuff, or I shouldn't have posted the black square. And I know this is just my own microcosm, but we
I
had
think
this Share the
Nevada's
Arrows
gonna go
event,
for
and we had
Trump.
4,000
Nevada
Christian
numbers.
women from
There's
across the
Virginia.
country and even Canada coming there just to listen to sound teaching. These
Virginia
were
House.
4,000 conservative women, and I loved what I heard that this one person said, I left there with zero fear of man. And that is just the feeling that I get among a lot of Christians.
Yeah, me too.
Courage.
Me too. We're going to go to Hillary here and get
Hillary.
some of your questions and your views if you're watching The Blaze. If you haven't subscribed to The Blaze yet, will you please subscribe? Because in honor of the 47th president, hopefully it'll be Donald Trump,
The Blaze.
we've given you $47 off of your subscription. It is a great deal. It really is. We are working our butts off to make sure that we're bringing you the news that we have to.
I do listen to Glenn quite
Also, I will tell you
often.
this.
Well, every day. And
the other
obviously
thing is,
subscribe to The Blaze.
If Kamala Harris wins, we're in trouble.
Also,
You're in trouble, we're in trouble. Our voices are going to be squashed. If
the
Donald
Daily
Trump
Wire.
wins, we're going to be able to
We're
expand.
going to jump in and listen to them guys a
if I
little
may
bit
make
too.
this prediction, it'll be platforms like this that hold the next debate. It will not be.
I think
ABC,
if
NBC,
Trump
or
gets in, I
CNN.
think the mainstream
Those
media
things
is
are
pretty
over
much dead
if he
because
wins. We need you
Trump
to help
didn't
us
use the
build,
mainstream media at
this network.
all.
So join us now.
He's totally
Just go
been
to,
on like social media,
blazeelection.com
podcasts,
and
Joe
put in
Rogan,
47 as the promo code and save $47.
Carl Tuckerson,
Hillary, we've got
Tucker
about
Carlson,
90
Tucker
seconds.
Carlson.
What do you have?
All right, so I think I speak for all of us when I say we still have no clue what platforms or key issues Kamala Harris was campaigning on. But one thing we do know, she really was pushing the abortion issue, women's reproductive rights. And so her supporters really rallied around her with that, backing her on that. And so we have a clip of a Maryland governor using the Bible to support her position. Take a
I
listen.
could probably bring Tucker up
I
too.
oftentimes talk about how I look back at Ephesians and how Ephesians talks about how
Let's see.
men hold this place as a
He's on
spiritual head of
X.
household. But what that means is being able to be a protector for everyone in your household. It means supporting everyone in your household. And it means protecting their interests and frankly, their lives. And so if you have a person who's putting together policies that is attacking the health care of my daughter or my wife or my sisters, then that is my responsibility to serve as an anchor and a protector.
So our response from our Blaze TV subscribers from Fusebox said, what is the obsession with abortion about anyways? It seems so sick and strange, and I think we can all agree with that.
Thank you so much. It is
He's
8
live.
p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. We
Oh,
go to
he's
Stu.
got,
We have some more closings,
Donald Trump
and
Jr.
we're going to
on.
call some more states, I believe.
Colorado, Iowa. This will be interesting from the Ann Selzer poll points. Let's see how that one plays out here in the next couple of hours. Part of Kansas, Louisiana, part of Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, part of North Dakota, part of South Dakota, part of Texas, Wisconsin, and Wyoming, all closing right now.
All right, so that means Texas
Michigan's
is fully
going
closed,
pretty hard for
closed.
Kamala,
We
though.
should be able to call that one pretty soon.
So fully clothed, Glenn.
Yes, I know. Thank God, because you don't want to see Texans without their clothes.
Wisconsin,
It's not good.
nothing.
Let me go to Harmeet Dillon,
Where's
who
this?
is in
Kentucky.
Arizona.
Oh,
The polls have
Kentucky's-
just closed.
Kentucky's red.
She is an RNC committee
That's already
woman
called up here.
from California, Center for American Liberty, founder and CEO of that. Also, she has really been a big part
Texas.
of
Texas
making
is
sure
kinda
that
surprising.
the lawyers
Well,
are
there's
on top
Austin.
of everything. Arizona just closed. I know that you have been busy all day long. What did you see? Are you
Austin's
concerned
blue.
about things? How did things
Houston,
generally go?
Yep, that's blue. San Antonio's
Well,
blue.
thank you for having me.
Those are going to be the
war
only.
room opened
There's going
in
to be
Arizona.
3 blue
That's all of
dots,
the
and
lawyers
all
and
this
the
is going to be
political
red.
people here
And
in
they're
Scottsdale at 5:30 a.m. And we've been on our feet and blocking and tackling issues all day long, nonstop. Literally, we just concluded a hearing in Apache County about 10 minutes ago involving an effort by the Democrats to keep the polls open 2 hours longer based on some issues that occurred in Apache County in the morning that were resolved many hours ago, and they filed their lawsuit very late in the day, as is their wont. But the judge issued a compromise there and allowed 7 polling locations out of about 40 to stay open for 2 more hours. I think it's going to be a really minimal impact on the vote. We've had tremendous turnout here in Arizona, and we had several thousand observers deployed into the field today, and hundreds and thousands of different shifts over the last 2 weeks during the early voting, 3 weeks.
Utah?
And we have several dozen lawyers in the field and several dozen lawyers here on site
Colorado,
in our war room area.
Nothing yet.
And it has gone very smoothly.
California,
the fact that we had this tremendous
California,
organization,
Oregon, Washington.
working
Kamala's
in
going to get those 3.
combination with outside groups and campaigns
Hawaii,
to
that's going to go
look
to
at
Kamala.
where we had long lines in Maricopa County and literally send buses there and take our voters with Trump signs on the side on these buses to other polling places, letting them vote and bringing them back so they can get back into their cars.
We're gonna
it
call
was a
that for
super
Trump.
organized, rapid response system set up by our chair here, Gina Swoboda.
We're just going to say that's Trump.
All of the campaigns work together, the RNC worked together with everybody, and I'm just really proud to be the lawyer on site here for the RNC and the Trump campaign for this effort.
I am thrilled that you are the one that took on Arizona. So Maricopa County, we didn't see any of the crap that we were seeing last time. You feel that this is, at this point, secure, and we've caught what we needed to catch?
Well, on the voting day and through voting day, yes.
Correct.
Of course, Maricopa County is going to take up to 2 weeks to count the ballots. That's because they're allowed to do that under the law. And a lot of Republicans dropped off their mail ballots today in Maricopa County, and then we had a lot of people voting today. So not everyone can be like Florida and excel at the science of voting and actually count things on time. Or by the way, the rest of the third world, every other country in the world, it counts on the election day. But I would say as far as the issues I saw physically here on the ground in 2022 when I was here on the ground, we didn't see those issues. I mean, human beings run these elections. There were some issues like they ran out of ink in some places. They took a while to fill them back up. There were a few errors here and there. There were some errors in Yuma County. There were little errors in Kanawha County and some others, but we worked cooperatively for the most part outside Maricopa County with elections officials to resolve these issues. And within Maricopa County, we pressured them, we hassled them, we asked them to fix certain things, and some things were being fixed as late last night, texting 2,000 voters, telling them that they were mistakenly removed from the polls here in Maricopa County. So now we have 2 more hours and 7 locations in Apache County. We're going to be getting with our voters in those 7 locations and making sure they know that they have 2 more hours to vote.
What they're saying.
West Virginia, waiting for other states that are on the bubble and close and early at this point in the night. 37 Democrats are hanging on to their seats in the United States Senate.
I think this is like where everything starts to gel. And we start to get more of the hard numbers. Let's go to Bill at the billboard. Harold, I'm sorry, Texas went to the Republicans.
No, I just think the numbers. I'm only looking at some of the popular vote numbers and how the candidates performing with.
Although,
I mean, suburban areas. I'm just joking with you. Bill, what do you got?
Go blue.
Okay, so a couple things here.
There's those few dots.
Michigan.
We'll be at
Ohio.
Hang on 1 second there, okay, just want to show you this. I mean, this is really, it's got to be your target right now.
This one?
Fulton County, heavily populated, and a ton of votes there, okay? That hasn't really moved, so the estimated number of votes still out is about 30%, and Kamala Harris hanging in there with 7. She's going to win the county, okay? The question is the margin. The question is whether or not, Trump is chewing in this African-American male vote that we were talking about.
Cities.
Because I want to come up to North Carolina. I'll show you a county. Okay,
the big cities always go for Democrats.
And it's also African-American. 47% African-American. It's a small county here. It's called Anson, all right? Trump's winning, okay? What's that mean? Okay, this is Biden 4 years ago by 4 points, okay?
No, no kidding.
Trump right now, flipping that county, you know, is there a
surprising.
minority vote out there that is helping to buoy his campaign? It's something we got to consider. Another thing I want to point out, just while I got you here, okay, guys? This is the part of the state that was racked by that hurricane, all right? This is Trump territory, all right? 61%, 68%.
Hey guys, I'm going to
81%.
restart my
But coming here
stream
for a
so that
little
I'm
bit.
on
This is
X
Buncombe,
as
all right?
well.
This is Asheville. You expect this to go blue. Indeed, it
So,
has right now. About 2/3
I'm
of the
gonna do
vote
that real